Hello, welcome back to the MMA Split Pick Show for an absolutely massive fight night card. UFC is back in London. We are back in the O2. We might have waited 3 years, but we've had two visits now in 2022. March was sensational. July is looking like it's going to be just as exciting. Packed stadium, great promotion, huge fights. Minus a title fight, this could basically be a pay-per-view, and it's got a selection of all of our favorite British fighters, ranging from the guys right at the top, looking for that title shot, right down to some newcomers that we think are absolutely fantastic and have started the UFC careers really well. A couple of foreign fights as well, but Chris Curtis is certainly going to be flying the British flag on behalf of Darren Till when he fights. And
What?
Gustafsson versus
What? How are you
not
not?
literally.
But
Not
no, but
literally.
how do you not take it as Till's out? I got a root for Hermanson now. This Team Europe. How far did Brexit go? Don't tell me Brexit happened in your heart and all.
Dude, Chris Curtis is the man. Like, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Look at the excitement. We're getting straight into things. First things first, Josh. Excitement level out of 10. We always love a London card. We know it's going to be fire. But how are you? Where's the excitement factor at?
Mate, I tried to explain to someone who Christopher Guest was the other day, and they didn't know who Christopher Guest was. They didn't know Spinal Tap, but they knew turn it up to 11. Mate, I'm at fucking 11. Where are you?
Nice. I'm at 10, but that's because I just set my speaker to 10 being the loudest.
Yeah, that's fun. Okay. I will say this though, this girl she didn't know Spinal Tap or Christopher Guest, but she did know turn it up to 11. And I'm like, that's where that's from. She's like, that's not from somewhere. That's just because it's more than 10. That's just what people say to exaggerate. And I'm like, nah, it's Spinal Tap. You're quoting Spinal Tap, and you're trying to tell me you don't know who Christopher Guest is. That was difficult.
Latest generation, man. Everybody's seen the memes. They haven't seen the original content. I cannot wait, dude. This is. I don't know if it. The only thing I'm wondering is I don't know if it ends up matching UFC London from back in March, because that was just one of those special first one back on English soil in a few years. Everything went perfectly. 80% of the British fighters won. All the big ones won spectacularly. That's a really hard thing to top. And I do look at some of these fights, and spoiler alert, me and Josh have completely just gone patriotic with our picks. But I don't know if we see the same level of British success on this card, because I think they're matched up against tougher people and more intriguing matchups in many regards.
Are we
Let's just get some
judging
bits.
the card's value though by how many home fighters win? Because I think that this does have the potential to be as good as UFC London back in March. I think this could be one of the top fight nights of the year, top cards of the year. Just everyone's taken a step up. Everyone's taken a step up, and they've still given both of us a reason to believe that they could win these fights. Because yes, we love being homers, but don't forget, we've each put in a fiver on who's going to win the most picks in this 12-week stint. None of us want to come last and have to do the penalty. It's important. And Sly's a sneaky bastard. No one likes losing to Sly. So we it may look like we're picking with our hearts, but I think we're picking with our hearts and our heads. This is an exciting fucking card.
Well, on that note, let's get some admin out the way. As you guys can see, I myself, Matt, am here. Josh is here.
I'm here.
Sly is not here. He's now in Germany. So it's actually the most legitimate excuse he's had for missing a podcast this month.
I'm not going to complain about it.
He's submitted his picks, though. You will notice between all three of us, there is many similarities.
Yeah.
We do not organize this. In fact, when I saw Josh's picks, I actually wanted to change mine, just to try and not have everything right down to one fight.
To put mine in first this week because I felt that it was going to go this way.
I noticed that. And there were two fights I almost switched, not because I believed in them, but because I just wanted to not have everything boiled down to one fight against you. But in the end, it's boiled down to one fight against you. It's like 1-2 fights difference between us and Sly. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. However, we need to talk about the table. We touched on this in the podcast. Please watch that video. Leave a like on it if you have not checked it out already. But after last week's card, Josh is now strongly ahead in the picks. He won last week. He
Well,
won it convincingly. He is on the lead with 3. I'm in second place with 1.5. Sly is bringing up the rear with a 0.5. So it's still early, but I would definitely like to end this winning streak of Josh. And I think Chris Curtis is going to take me there. Before we talk about that,
we'll see. But I got to say, it's less than a 2 point lead. The one good thing though is that I think we've got 5 weeks left, so um, 2 more wins, or basically Sly not winning
we've
for
got
2 weeks.
7 weeks left.
Shit, yeah, we've done 5. All right, so it's got to be a little bit longer. But if so, I guess it would be 4 weeks then. If we can go 4 weeks without Sly winning, I can't come last.
This is true.
Which I really, really would love to see Sly come last.
You're assuming that Sly not winning equals you winning instead of me winning.
No. That's why it has to be quite a long amount. But I think if we get to 4, I've got a 2.5 point swing.
You actually need 5.
Yeah.
You need 5.
5.
Let's see what happens.
5
Let's
or
see.
I'll win one. Every win
He's
takes 1 week off.
Sly has not won a pick show this season, and he has not performed well while he's been away. So maybe you can take advantage of his absence and lack of focus.
He's won the 1 week, but he split honours with you. He hasn't won by himself.
No. And I never should have lost that week. Fucking Josh Emmett, man. He did not win that fight. But what can you do? Let's talk about this main event. Let's talk about our boy, Tom Aspinall. Right now, one of the 2 guys that's the most likely to win a UFC championship, at least in the next couple of years. I almost said top, but I'm thinking Leon Edwards might be able to get it done against Usman, but he's right up there. They've given him the worst possible fight. And I saw an interview with him, and somebody said, this is the worst possible matchup in the division for you. And he said, yeah, when they offered me this fight, they said that nobody wants to fight Curtis Blaydes, and nobody wants to fight you. Do you want to fight Curtis Blaydes? And Aspinall said, nobody wants to fight him? Yep, I want to fight him. He's had the best camp of his life. He says he's been afraid. He says that fear of how good his opponent is has brought the best out of him. I really hope so, man, because I look at this fight and I think this is a fucking tough matchup, man. Curtis Blaydes technically is as good as any heavyweight. He might technically be the best heavyweight in the UFC. He's just been knocked out by 2 really scary guys, and it happens. But he's not a worse fighter than Ngannou and Derek Lewis by any stretch of the imagination. And a lot of these other guys don't want to fight him because they know how good he is. Tom's got to be really switched on. His takedown defense has got to be absolutely outstanding. And he's got to still, in my opinion, believe that he can be offensive with wrestling as well. He has to still create that problem. Because one of the things that Curtis Blaydes is getting really good at is using the threat of his wrestling to land his hands. And that is happening more and more. Josh, what's your thoughts on this one? How do you see, what challenges do you see for Aspinall, for Blaydes, and what's your pick going to be in the end?
Well, I'm glad Tom, true to form, is just telling it how it is. I've got no doubt this has been the most motivated he's been in his career. Blaydes is the worst matchup for everybody, really, when you think about what he's great at, which is wrestling. He is a good, solid, all-round MMA fighter, but his wrestling is where he is a true specialist in this division. And Aspinall's probably got the best chance at sort of being able to nullify him in the grappling department somewhat. I don't think he's going to be able to work a very effective butterfly guard against Blaydes when he's on his back. You know, if Blaydes powers through and gets a good double leg on him, that's going to be that round, I think. You know, he's unlikely to be able to sweep him. He might be able to get off a submission threat, possibly. I think he can do enough to not get finished immediately with the ground and pound, but Blaydes is certainly scary in that department.
I agree with you. I think Aspinall. I don't think Aspinall should be going into this thinking that his jiu-jitsu is something he can lean on if he gets taken down.
No, but that being said, any prolonged takedown is going to offer up a neck, possibly a Kimura, at least an opportunity to get half guard or sweep immediately when you go down. He's going to pose problems for Blaydes that he just has not had to ever deal with. Period. Blaydes is going to be out of his depth to some degree as well. When he's not working his way to full mount, he's really going to be testing some untested waters. It's going to be a little bit of the unknown, and I think Tom has all the ability in the world to take advantage of that. This is a tough fight. It's an important fight though. If you're serious about being a heavyweight champion anytime soon, you have to beat the Curtis Blaydes of the world. End of. Ngannou is not a better fighter. I would say Derek Lewis arguably is, just because he's able to land that uppercut on a Blaydes takedown attempt. But Blaydes is right fucking up there. I'm excited. I think Tom's gonna do it. I think he's gonna KO him. I think Tom by KO. I think if he can stuff a takedown or half stuff a takedown enough that he can find a way back to his feet in a scramble as soon as they get down, Blaydes is going to be a little too tired and have to think a little bit too much about his entries. I think Tom catches him. What do you reckon, Matt?
It's going to be really tight. It's going to be really tight. I've picked Aspinall as well, and the factor that comes into the equation for me is speed. He's got a little bit shorter reach. Curtis Blaydes has got the longer reach, but Aspinall's taller than him. And I don't know if Blaydes will have ever fought somebody who he doesn't have a height advantage over, but is also faster than him. And I think that has got to be his key to victory. And I don't just mean speed in terms of hand speed. I think Aspinall's got to be engaging lateral movement. It's really hard to take somebody down if they're not staying in one place. And if Aspinall can utilize that speed, get Blaydes moving around, get him uncomfortable, because Blaydes' his striking is very fundamental, it's very good, but it's still not his absolute bread and butter. And I think when his feet are set, he throws really nicely. But I think if you're going to catch him and if you're going to be able to counter him and take advantage of that hand speed, it's going to be when you've got him moving sideways, moving forward, catching him on the off step, and still threatening that takedown in. Because I would like to see how somebody like Curtis Blaydes reacts if they get put on their back. I don't imagine a lot of people put him in that position in the training room. And I think that's something that I would, even if he doesn't get into the position, I would like to see Aspinall create the same mental problem for Blaydes as Blaydes is going to be creating for Aspinall with wrestling, even if it's less effective. If he can do that, the speed of his combinations, the strength and power he's got, I think there's a lot of reasons to think he can win. But it would not be a big surprise if Blaydes uses the experience that he's got at this level, because that's, I think, the key is fundamental difference between the two of them. This is Aspinall's first real taste of what a top 5 elite heavyweight looks like. And for Blaydes, he's passed this test. He might not have passed the test, I should say, sorry, but he's fought this level of guy before. He's learned from those experiences. He knows what that feels like. Aspinall KO is my pick. I think Sly's pick. Have you got Sly's picks in front of me?
Yeah,
In front of you, by any chance?
Let me bring it up. I think we've all gone.
Aspinall KO.
He didn't want a carpool. Kid didn't want a carpool. Aspinall sub. Okay.
He went sub.
Yeah, and
you went KO. I went KO.
Let me tell you why that's not a bad pick.
It's not a bad pick.
Like we've both said, the common theme here is Blaydes is going to be dealing with as much unknown, in terms of dealing with elite levels of chain wrestling, MMA grappling. He's not going to enjoy the stand up. Little prop bet here though. How many takedown attempts do you think we see in the first round? I don't know if Curtis even really tries to change levels in the first 4 minutes. Maybe goes
no, and particularly in 5-round fights, I think he's adopting a more patient approach with that. I think he's not necessarily, in terms of the risk reward for energy usage, I think he's kind of realizing that it's better to have the gas to kind of turn on in the last 2 rounds than burn it all up early compared to a 3-round fight.
Unless
and
Tom
I think
starts
he
putting it on him.
likes. If this is true,
if Tom's able to put it on him.
I think Blaydes also knows, because he knows that wrestling is his big threat. I think he's enjoying space and opportunity striking that a striker wouldn't get in the same situation.
Yeah.
And I think he enjoys it. And the more he does it, he knocked out JDS, the way he knocked out Chris Dalkus, a lot of that comes from the fact that guys are expecting the grappling. And his stance can be a bit more aggressive. He can be more upright. He doesn't have to worry about that. The hands tend to be a little bit higher up. He's got less things to worry about striking than a striker has to worry about facing him. It's a tough fight for Aspinall, man. It really is, because all it takes is for one of those double legs to work, and it could suddenly become a very easy fight for Curtis Blaydes. And I do wonder, training in the UK, is there anybody in his camp that can put the wrestling on him the way that Curtis is going to?
Probably not. Probably not. But I think a lot of what you're going to train for is situational. It's going to be straight up takedown defense and like getting back up, working your way to half guard from full mount. Keeping full guard, riding it out, limiting damage, controlling posture, and possibly looking for like triangles or Kimura sweeps, or it's all going to be very, very situational. They're not going to be like, let's get him as many minutes with the top wrestler as possible. They're going to just wait and he's tired, do a wrestling Shark Tank kind of thing, and just keep getting up, keep getting up, keep getting up, because you cannot survive in that situation for very long with Curtis Blaydes.
We just point out, if Aspinall does to Blaydes what he's done to everybody else so far, immediate title shot. I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
If he makes this look easy, it's a title shot no matter what. I don't care.
Suddenly
I'm not
they
saying he's
start
going to make it
taking
look
O's
easy.
off of that new Francis Ngannou contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, shit. If he fucking runs through Blaydes like he ran through Volkov, yeah,
He's got.
this is the
He's
heir
potentially
apparent.
got everything.
This
He's
could
the
be
right
most
age.
exciting prospect in all sports.
He's the right age. He's got the right skills. His mentality is incredible. His humility is unbelievable. He would be a promoter's wet dream as champion, particularly for a British champion. The way that the Brits would respond to somebody like Aspinall, I think it would help to really legitimize the sport in a country where it's gaining popularity, but you still have Talk Sport talking about it like it's cage fighting and human cock
Yeah.
fighting. So he would help that massively.
Yeah, let's be
We've
real.
talked
This
enough.
could be a good fucking weekend. This could be a really good weekend. I'm excited.
Let's move on to the co-main event, because we've given that main event a lot of attention. But a co-main event was meant to be Darren Till against Hermansson, which would have been a fucking great fight. Instead, we've got Chris Curtis filling in on short notice. Now, Chris Curtis is unranked, unfavored for most of his career, walking around the regional scene, never getting an opportunity. He's come into the UFC. He's been an underdog 3 times. He's won 3 times. He's fighting a top 10 ranked guy. It is a major step up in competition. But holy shit, do I not want to see this guy do it, because I love an underdog story. And he believes in himself. I'd like to think he's going to have the Brits cheering as if he was Darren Till going down. You want to see those people support Hermansson. I am not in that crew. I have picked Chris Curtis to continue the run, this incredible underdog run of just beating guys on short notice and making it look good. Come on, Chris Curtis. I need this one, because this is the only fight I have different from Josh. So if he doesn't win, Josh wins the picks no matter what. Sly's also got similar picks, but he's done
gone for
something really
Curtis as
stupid
well.
at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, myself and Sly, I think have got at least one other fight that we're not going the same. He's not picking Mason Jones. He's gone Ludovic Klein. I think that's the other one. So to be honest, I think if your boy doesn't do it, if the improbable run ends, if the underdog doesn't pull it off, and Jack the Joker Hermansson does exactly what we all think he's going to do and get an early submission, I'm going to win. It'll be 4 in a row.
Well,
I'll enjoy that. It could be a really good weekend.
here's the thing. Chris Curtis has got to stay at a range that's going to be very uncomfortable because from distance, Jack Hermansson's got the reach. He can fire long straight shots. He can fight at range. Up close, you really don't want to have to grapple with Jack Hermansson. Now, is he as good a grappler as Rodolfo Vieira? No, but he's a better striker. And so the mix up is going to be a lot less predictable. And he's a lot more aggressive with where he pulls the submissions out. He'll be in a bad position, but he'll still go for the submission if he thinks he can get it, even if it's not in the best position. Chris Curtis, the best thing about him is the way that he works that body, but he's got to be close enough to work that body. So it's a tricky one. He needs to just be able to maintain that boxing range. He's going to be in the clinch a lot, and he has got to be able.
Jack overextends on that 1-2, because if you're still fucking stood there and he didn't get knocked out, he's gonna just grab your leg. So you have to go back when he comes forward. You have to let him overextend and just not let him touch you. But he's never really going to be afforded the opportunity to stay in close and work the body. The best he's going to be able to do is if he's able to work him like a matador and just keep stepping out, pivoting to the side, he might be able to fire off some shots here and there. But it's going to be a very different kind of game plan than anything we've previously seen. Or Jack's going to have his dirty way with him.
Well, you are predicting Hermansson by method of submission?
Yes.
Me and Sly are going for a Chris Curtis knockout. Come on, Chris. I need this one.
He needs
Okay, from here, basically, I just need to tell you what my pick is, and Josh can just confirm his method, because we're pretty much identical all the way through. We will signify when Sly decides to be different, but that's a lot further down. So, moving on to Scouse's favourite son, Liverpool's favourite son, Paddy the Baddy. He's back. He's against a guy that isn't going to get cut if he loses to him. So it's definitely a step up. And he's facing a guy that's a really good grappler. So this is an interesting kind of matchup for Paddy. He's fought a couple of dangerous strikers. He's kind of had a grappling advantage over. This one, I actually think he might have a striking advantage here. I think Paddy looks good in this fight. I do. I don't think there's the same danger of the guy's going to catch you hard with that one shot. I still think he might get caught. But I think Levitt's going to be trying to win a grappling match. I don't think that's a good idea against Paddy. I think Paddy's going to be able to land his shots, and certainly those kicks up the middle as Levitt's coming in. And on the ground, I do think Paddy's got the advantage. So I am saying Paddy sub.
I'm saying Paddy decision. Paddy's definitely got the advantage on the ground. I think he's the harder hitter as well. Although I think credit to Levitt where it's due. He is a much more kind of agile athlete, and that does translate to being a little hard to hit on the feet. So I think Paddy's going to do all the damage on the ground. I just think Jordan's got the same kind of flexible, rangy frame that young Patrick has. I think Jordan's going to be able to, make it a competitive fight, but just ultimately a unanimous decision for Paddy.
Fair enough. Sly is also going Paddy. He is going by sub, which takes us down to Nikita Krillov, taking on the former three-time title challenger at light heavyweight, Alexander Gustafsson. It was really hard not to pick Gustafsson, man. On his best day, he is by far the better fighter than Krillov. But he hasn't fought at light heavyweight in ages. He's had a boatload of injuries. He's getting older. His last fight at heavyweight, he didn't look good. And Krillov is not the guy that you want to fight on your fight back, man. He makes a lot of mistakes, and he can certainly get caught. He can get subs, but he's not getting subbed against Gustafsson. And he's wild. And if you haven't been in the cage for a while, you almost want that first round. I think Gustafsson's going to want that time to kind of get adjusted. And Krillov is not going to give him that time. He's not going to throw things that are technically where you would expect them to be. I think he catches Gustafsson early. I think he catches him before he feels comfortable. I think he knocks him out.
It's possible. I'm not anticipating we're going to see a very good version of Gustafsson. So ultimately, I'm thinking he is quite a savvy vet. And I remember he had a bit of a layoff before fighting Jan Blachowicz. came out and just took him down, I think 3 times, laid and prayed his way to an easy victory. Just took poor Jan out of it. I think he can get to the final bell. I'm going to say Krillov by decision, but I think he's going to take a beating. I think
And Sly's
Slice
saying
KO as well, right?
KO.
Yeah.
He's gone KO. Molly McCann, next up, taking on Hannah Goldie. And this is a good fight for Molly. This isn't a fight that's a step up for her. I think this is a fight that they've booked because I think she's going to look good here. I think she's got the ability to stop Hannah Goldie's takedowns. I think she's going to really outbox her. You know, there's something about Molly McCann, and she's not the most technical fighter. We've seen her get completely controlled with wrestling, and that is something that she really needs to work on. And I think she has been working on it. But there's a lot of women that don't have to fight women in MMA that are like Molly McCann, that don't mind getting punched, that don't react the same way getting punched, that have a certain aggression and, you know, intimidation factor to them. And Molly's got this. And Hannah Goldie, after this fight, I think is going to realize that she's been up against a fighter and a real fighter, somebody that you don't often see, but is an absolute scrappy dog who is going to be in your face. You punch her, she's going to smile. You punch her again, she's going to ask you to hit her another time and laugh at you. She's got that kind of energy.
Yeah,
I don't think she
neither
gets the
won't
finish.
lose a brawl, and she always finds a way to make it a brawl.
I don't think she gets the finish because, however good that spinning elbow was, she's not really been somebody that takes her opponents out, at least in the UFC. That spinning elbow was perfect, but it's because it was perfect that it was a
Yeah,
knockout. I think she just beats the crap out of Hannah for 3 rounds.
yeah, Goldie's tough. Um, I think have we all gone decision on this one? I think Sly's
I
playing
think so.
dissident again. No,
Your
yeah.
decision, I'm decision.
Hey,
Yeah, all three decision. Carpooling.
crack out the carpool line. All right.
I
I'm not
think we're
saying that's
carpooling
enough.
on the
I'm not
next one
supposed
as
to do
well because our bull, Paul Berger Craig, is up and he's in a real fight.
that. Yeah.
This is a top fight. I know that he's actually ranked above Volkan right now, but Volkan's still that real like. I know you beat Krillov, but Volkan's that guy where it's like beat him, do that to him. Okay, we're talking top 5, top 6 opponents, and we're talking
Yeah.
for real now. Like you're a contender. I can't wait, man. How has Paul Craig pulled this out? He had 1 second left in his UFC career. 1 second left in his UFC career against a guy that might be the champion in a couple of years' time. And he pulls out that submission. Even then, still wins some, lost some, finds his way. And now, the people he's beating, man, the Krillov win, 100% legit. Taking out Shogun. What a guy to have on your record. You've got Jamal Hill beaten in the first round. Are you kidding me? Look what that guy's doing right now. Paul
Yeah.
Craig is the man.
That's some prime streaky bacon.
He's got
That's
one
a
way to
waitress
win.
job.
That's the nervousness. He's only got one way to win. But you know what? Volkan's only got one way to win.
I
It's a
mean,
battle of positions.
yeah, but Volkan's one way to win comes in both hands and could
True.
be thrown multiple times, and he will roll that dice far more than Paul will roll his. That being said, a guy that lets get in it, loves coming in, getting close, getting wild, throwing hooks. You can pull guard on a guy like this. It's a reach.
Agreed.
Honestly, I'm kind of reaching on this one, but just in my bones, I believe it. Paul Craig's going to pull it off. We're getting
I don't think this is a reach.
a triangle armbar or triangle choke. Who's the Miz? Who's the Miz tapping? It's happening, and we've all gone the same way. We've all gone the same way.
Dude, I don't think this is a reach, man. We've all gone Craig sub, and I mean, look at who's doing right now. The only
He's
win he's had
fucking
in his
good.
last 5 fights was against Rakic, and most people think he lost that. He didn't look terrific in that fight.
He is still good.
Neither
He's
did Rakic,
very
to be fair.
dangerous. And the thing is,
But
he's
confidence
a
comes
power
into
guy.
it. Confidence comes into it, man. Paul Craig is riding a confidence. He believes in himself right now,
He's
and
hittable.
he fights in a. He is hittable, but But listen, man, who's put him out apart from Menafield? The man eats shots, dude. The man eats shots. He's got a chin.
Uzdemir, though. Let's not disrespect Uzdemir.
I know. Listen, Uzdemir can, of course, Uzdemir can knock him out. I just think
I knew we'd talk about this
Paul
one.
Craig is Paul Craig is such a throwback fighter in an era where you don't
We'll get
get
that.
throwback fighters working, but it works for him because nobody has preparation to fight a guy like that anymore. And because he doesn't really play the striking game in the same way, he kind of lures you into it. He makes you think he's there to be hit. And before you know it, distance closed, he's rolling, he's pulling guard, he's doing something. And I wouldn't be surprised he's got reach. His jab's looking better. His striking in the few moments we see it, it always looks like it's making steady improvements. I just think this is Craig's fight, man. I think this might be his moment. Come on,
I
Bear
hope
Jew.
so. Yeah. Let's go Britain.
Let's go, Britain.
All right. So next,
Prelims.
I don't know if you've
Prelims. We're
booked
going to do a
London.
bit quickly. We'll still talk about them, but let's not spend as long as we have on these ones.
Yeah. So the next one's going to be Ludovic Klein up against the Dragon Mason Jones. Klein was supposed to be fighting Nacho Bahamondes next week, or the week after, at 277. But Bahamondes is stuck in Chile, so they brought Klein forward a week. He's going to fight Mason Jones. Jones just taking it on short notice for an opportunity to fight in London, I suppose. And I think it's a fucking exciting fight, to be honest, Matt. I think we're all going these. Oh no, it's always Sly, isn't it? But
Sly's going Klein.
we're seeing this the same way. Mason Jones.
Mason Jones is good.
He's fucking top 10 ready. Well, it's so hard because this is a really good division actually. But the thing is, like the top 20 is in my mind the top 10 because that's how good 155 is.
I can't say he's top 10 ready, but what I can say is I feel that Mason Jones has already gone through his adjustment period from Cage Warriors to the UFC.
Yeah.
Because they gave him tough fights straight off the bat because he was coming through with a lot of hype, undefeated. He had the super close loss. I can't remember the guy's name. It is a fucking great fight, really close. He was winning his next fight and it got stopped.
Fast fight. Fuck.
No.
Where's Sly?
His next fight up, he it wasn't a disqualification, it was a no contest because of an eye poke, but he was looking really good there. And then he finally gets the UFC win.
Yeah.
Klein has his weaknesses, man, and Mason Jones can grapple and he can strike, and he'll give you multiple problems and he'll be in your face and he'll lead a shot. I think Klein's in for a rough night. I'm saying Jones' decision.
Also saying Jones' decision. Even though Klein's had a camp, he's bringing his weight cut forward a week. It's not ideal. Mason is a different kind of beast. I just think he's a much better fighter than Klein. Mason Jones' decision.
Nice.
And Sly, you poor sappy fool. Obviously stands strong in Ukraine, but yeah, he's going Klein by decision, and that's
interesting.
That's foolish. He shouldn't have done
that. Nice. Next up, I think, is Mark Diakasi taking on Dama Hatsevic. This is a good matchup, and I'll tell you what, 2-3 fights ago, I would have said Diakasi doesn't stand a chance. But look at the improvements he's made, man. The wrestling incorporated. I'm edging Diakasi to get a decision win.
Yeah, Diakasi is just a much better all-round fighter. I was at Alan Patrick last time out. Shit. Anyway,
yes.
You couldn't have said it better. I really turned it around. That last fight, yeah, bone crusher by decision. Also, Diakasi, English fighter, home crowd. Like when it's not at the highest of highest levels, this is going to be a huge advantage for Mark. He's going to fucking love it.
Yeah, Sly's also going Diakasi. He's going by knockout though, which means we're on to Nathaniel Woods taking on Charles Rosa. Man, I love Boston Strong. Nobody can lose and look as tough as Boston Strong can. But the guy loses a lot of fights. And I think that Nathaniel Woods, the kind of guy that's sort of going to put him into defensive jiu-jitsu mode pretty effectively, look better on the feet. And yeah, I'm going Woods decision.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's going to be Woods' featherweight debut, but I still think he might have filled out a fair bit. He might still be the bigger fighter here. I'm going Wood decision.
So is Sly. We're carpooling on that one. Next up, Macawan Americani who had a fantastic win against Mike Grundy at the earlier card in London this year. Taking on a tough dude, though, JSP himself, Jonathan Pearce. Since that loss to Joe Lozon, he has looked really, really good in this division. And honestly, it's just I can't pick against him. He's he's improving every fight. I think he's got more confidence. I know Americani won his last fight, but
He
there's still
lost a
big
few
holes in
before
his
that.
game, and I don't know if he's really got it. Whereas I think Jonathan Pearce could be something.
Yeah, Americani can be a fun striker. He's a game submission threat, but Mr. Finland is getting a little older. He beat, to be honest, kind of a poor Mike Grundy. And Mike Grundy's nowhere near as good as Jonathan Pearce, in my opinion. I'm
No,
going JSP. I think I said decision. I'm,
you did say decision.
I'm a bit of an Americani fan, trained in Dublin for a long time. I'm sure as the European fighter, he'll feel like he's kind of got the home advantage, but JSP.
Yeah, I've said JSP KO. Sly has said JSP KO, which means that we're on to Britain's hottest prospect in the flyweight division, Mohamed Makayev, taking on a newcomer to the UFC, I believe, Charles Johnson.
Yeah, who is he supposed to fight? And Makayev have someone drop
I
out.
I have no idea. If they literally booked him to fight a newcomer, then this is literally just feeding fish to a shark.
Um, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't know too much about Charles Johnson. Let me just bring it up on
I know
my
nothing
little
about
Bible
Charles Johnson.
apology.
What I do know is that Mohamed Makayev is a bad man, and I'm picking him to win by a submission.
You know, I'm not seeing any cancellations in here. Maybe they were just having a hard time finding an opponent for him. I think I've.
They
Go on, sorry.
blood to the shark, mate. It's they're feeding seals to a shark.
Yeah, Mokayev sub. It's always sub. It's got to be sub.
Yeah, Sly has gone Makayev decision. Interesting. Which takes us on to Jai Herbert. He was looking so good against Tapuria until he wasn't, and he was face down on the floor. And unfortunately, this has happened a couple of times now in his UFC career. The Trinaldo fight, he looked really good in until he didn't.
Well, I don't think he's ever gone to decision, has he?
No, he's certainly exciting. And what you could see in that Tapuria fight is the guy is an electric striker. You know, he fights long, he throws his hands, the kicks come in following the hands, he sets those up really nicely. The guy has got all the skills to win, which is why I've picked him. And it's just about being a bit more defensively responsible. You know, he's one of those chins out in the air guys.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that in the training room, when he's sparring, he's slick and he doesn't get hit by anything and he doesn't get punished for it. But he's getting punished for it. And he needs to fix that because if he wants to win fights at a higher level, guys are going to catch you when they're as quick and powerful as they are, particularly with a wrestling threat.
Yeah. That being said, I think he's got this one.
Yeah, agreed. I'm saying, how do I say?
KO.
I
It's
said
got to be KO.
decision. Oh, sorry, I said KO, Sly said decision, and you said decision.
I
Sorry, you
said
said KO.
KO. Yeah, I don't think Herbert's ever
Yeah,
been
sorry,
to
you said KO.
decision. Um,
No.
there's always a first time in there.
Ain't that true? Talking about decisions, let's talk about Mandy Belm taking on Victoria Leonardo. And not much really to say on this one. Mandy Belm looking impressive so far in the UFC. Victoria Leonardo not looking so impressive. Both have lost their last fight, but I'm still picking Belm to win by decision.
Yeah, I think we all have. Yeah. Carpool line.
Perfect. Carpool line. And that takes us to the opening fight of the card. Claudia Silva at 39 years old, still getting it done, taking on Nicholas Dalby. This was a hard fight to pick. In the end, I've just gone for the younger man in Nicholas Dalby because, I mean, Claudia Silva's 39 years old. He didn't look that great in his last outing. He's lost his last couple of fights. Confidence can't be high. I just think if Dalby's going to win his fight, this is it.
If Darby's going to win a fight. Yeah, Dalby's definitely going to win this fight. Dalby's a legend. It's local all day. Or is he now?
And I think we all said
Danish
decision.
Dynamite.
Yeah, I'm all carpooling on that one as well. We all said decision. This card is about as stacked as it could possibly be. I can't wait for the press conference. I can't wait for all of the media build up. I want it loud. I want it big. I want it bombastic. And I might even be able to watch the fights in a pub with a few people. So that should be fun. My deal breaker, because I did this last time for UFC London and there was no sound. No sound, I don't go. I have to be
How
able
are you
to
going to
hear
know ahead of
sound.
time?
Sorry?
How are you going to know? How are you going to find out ahead of time?
The bars Belushi's, I can go down and I can speak to them. I know that they're playing
Okay,
it, but I can ask them what the sound options will be.
fair enough. All right.
And on that note, guys,
Yeah.
normal times
Leave
for
your
this
picks
card,
in the
no,
comments. Just do exactly.
do
Just
that.
type out exactly what we said. Because we've all just copied each other. Why not? Get the comments going. Or be brave, make your own picks, like we didn't.
These fights are on at a normal time. Enjoy it, savor it, make the most of it. Do not have to stay up till stupid o'clock in the morning. Have a great weekend, enjoy the fights, and as always, guys, bye Dave, bye Laura, bye Trifo.
Bye, Laurie. Bye, Dave.